I feel like growing up how I grew up, being raised how I was raised, didn't help me in the real world.
At what point did God put the vision in your head that you didn't want to be in the NBA?
Bro, the real world don't work this way. Like, you got to work your ass off every chance you get, every time. Like, you can't just pick and choose when you want to be great.
If you're a hooper outside of the NBA, is there money to be made in this industry? What would a young version of Franklin growing up in Watts on 103rd and Grape say about his upbringing to give me context about the person I'm talking to today?
That's two totally different people. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to give you what I would say back then, because to be honest, I don't really remember much from back then. I feel like growing up how I grew up, being raised how I was raised, didn't help me in the real world. Like, a lot of it didn't help me to where I am, like where I went. I got rid of a lot to become who I am today. So I guess if I was to tell my old self, get rid of pride. That's number one. Pride destroyed a lot for me. And I ask people a lot of that. So I ask people that a lot nowadays. Like, what does pride actually do for you? I'm curious. To be honest, I think it's only in our culture. So, yeah, I would say get rid of pride.
That's a great point. Your family dynamic, I know you had 4 older brothers. You feel like a household of 5 boys, that's a lot to deal with. Do you feel like they added to that?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like when you have older brothers, they kind of show you what to do and what not to do. And then when they get their ass whooped, excuse the French, you kind of know, like, I don't want that type of whooping. So realistically, you don't do the dumb stuff they did. So it just taught me kind of how to move, how to navigate parents and, like, life. And, like, I don't want to gangbang. I don't want to go to jail. It was a lot I didn't want to do that they did. Great older brothers, but, everybody makes mistakes, and they had a few too many for me.
When I see your clips today on social media, I would think you've been hooping since you were like 7 years old or something. And I come to realize that you actually really didn't start hooping until you were a junior in high school. So what was it that Coach Van Myers said to you or saw in you that made you get into basketball?
Such a great question. To be honest, I was doing flip tricks on a skateboard off the back stairs of my high school, and he saw how athletic and agile I was, and he asked me to basically come play. That was in like 9th or 10th grade, and then I was playing JV. And, like, you play JV just because you with the homies and it's just what they do. Like, they didn't skateboard, so it's like, all right, like, I'll just play with them. And he asked me to play varsity in the 10th grade, and I told him no. And everybody else was like, what's wrong with you? Like, why you don't want to play varsity? I was like, it looked boring. It looked too serious for me. Like, I don't care for basketball how y'all care for basketball. And I feel like that was instilled in me my whole career. Like, yes, I could have took it a lot more serious and could have made it further, but I just didn't see that in myself. And I enjoyed who I was. And I feel like a lot of people are more focused on who they want to be than who they are.
That's such a profound thing to know at 15 years old.
This is very true. I don't think I really knew it. I just think I liked being happy. And varsity didn't make me happy. Watching it didn't make me happy. Watching people sit the bench and not play at all with their friends didn't make me happy. And I knew I wasn't good enough. So I was like, why would I go play something that I'm not good enough to play? But I didn't understand, like, oh, you play it to get better. You practice to get better. Being with better people, you get better. But I didn't see myself as this basketball player that everybody else saw.
Had you ever been to an NBA game prior to that?
No. I think I went to my first NBA game when I was like 26. I don't know. Way later. Yeah, way later.
So who got you into skateboarding then?
My homie on the block, Anthony Corona, actually. He was my best friend growing up, Mexican guy. And we just used to hang out all the time. And he started skateboarding, and I was like, all right, this is who I hang out with. So it looks fun. Let's try it. And I ended up being really good at it.
I was the same way. I was only on vert, though. I couldn't do a lot of street tricks.
Really?
Yeah.
I was opposite. I was a street skater, and then when I learned vert, it was fun. Like, going into the bowl, figuring out how to turn and pivot, and, like, it was a blast. I love skateboarding. I had terrible ankles, though, so it just didn't favor my body.
I'm already knowing. And then when the board hits you in the shin.
Oh, and I got skinny shins, so it was just, yeah, man.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
So eventually you end up getting into basketball, right?
Yeah.
And I remember hearing that you don't really take it too serious as you were a junior and a senior, but when you got out of high school, there was somebody who changed, I feel like, your viewpoint in basketball forever when you went to Saddleback, which was Andy Ground, right?
Yes, sir.
So working with Andy, what did he see in you and the potential, and how did you, going from somebody who didn't really have as much of a passion for basketball, how did that transition to who you are today?
Man, Andy changed my life. He was one of the people who changed my life. It was a bunch of people who did throughout the course of my life, but he was one. He was the only person to recruit me out of L.A. Jordan. Like it's funny, we still laugh about it to this day. I still talk to him, and I'll go visit them sometimes. But we laugh about when he first came up to me. He said I big timed him, but I honestly didn't think he was serious. So it wasn't like, you want me? Like, what? Like, I'm not good. What are you talking about? So it was actually dope that he took a chance on me, and like, I don't know what he saw in me. I guess he saw what everybody else saw in me: the grit, the hustle, that effort that a lot of people don't have. Being a basketball player for as long as I have now, a lot of people don't really give 110% effort all the time. It's very rare. So some people are just talented, and then some people got to work harder than others. And I think he just saw how hard I worked, and that all just propelled into like me becoming like a better human being. Just working hard every day. When it came to playing, I was not a practice player. I'm just gonna throw that out there ASAP. But when it came to playing and like competing, I did it at an all-time high. So I think he saw that, and that just instilled in me over the years. Like, the more I competed and wanted the best for myself, and kind of just kept building up, who I was, it kind of just kept going. And people started to see I was a character. Then they started to see like a little more from me. And I always felt like I was more than just basketball. So I also think that was like a big role in my life, to be honest.
That's probably where that leadership comes from, and that the camaraderie of like being in basketball.
Oh, man, you want to know what's crazy? I've never wanted to be a leader. I don't know why the hell I'm appointed to be a leader on anybody's team anywhere, but a lot of people are too afraid to be not liked. I don't give a damn. I like winning more than I like people. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to win, and I'm going to say whatever it takes to win. And sometimes I just feel like the right people need to hear the right thing, and it can change a game.
Is there something that Andy said to you that will stick with you forever?
Is there something that Andy said to me? Yeah. It ain't nothing serious, but I used to want really nice things when I was younger. And he used to tell me I got $1 million budget, or I got $1 million budget with a poor man's wallet. So, and growing up, I didn't have anything, but I would talk to him and want, like, back then, what's that, 2008? I want a 50-inch TV. 50-inch TV in 2007, 2008 was expensive.
Those are those box ones, or was it flat screen?
Flat. I wanted the flat one. Yeah. So back then, he was like, oh, man. So I just knew I always wanted more out of life, and the only way to get that was, I feel like, to be more than just a basketball player, because I never saw myself as good enough. So, like, when it came to, like, NBA and all overseas, all the stuff that people talk about and dream about, like, I couldn't see that in myself. So I was like, man, I can't wait to get a job and start making real money. That was where my thought process went.
So after you weren't with Andy anymore, you ended up going to Weaver State, played with them for a little bit, and they ended up sending you back home.
Yeah.
Why was it that they sent you back home?
I was ignorant as hell. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It was a lot. I had a real tough time in practice. At the Division I level, you do a lot of practicing. You do a lot of practicing. You do a lot of plays. You do a lot of shell. You do a lot of just dummy stuff. You don't compete like that, at least not where I was at. I didn't get to compete and go at my teammates, and like we didn't get to play much. Everything was like drills. I suck at drills. Like one of the worst drill people ever. Like I'm more of an in-game because I've always struggled with the competitive drive I have in-game with in practice. But everybody saw how hard I played in game and how much I gave to the game that they wanted that in practice. I'm doing 5-on-0. You want me to run and sprint back and forth really hard? For what? What's the point? But back then, like, I didn't get that. But now, like, the older I got, I actually ended up writing my head coach a letter thanking him for sending me home because it humbled me. And it helped me become, like, more of an adult. And I was like, bro, the real world don't work this way. Like, you got to work your ass off every chance you get. Every time. Like, you can't just pick and choose when you want to be great. No, go try to be great every time. So, yeah, that helped me a lot.
What did you say in that letter?
I basically thanked him for everything he did for me. I told him them sending me home changed my life. I see why a lot of NBA players and like top players getting in so much trouble because they have that mindset, and then you hand them millions of dollars, so they don't have to grow up. You don't have to grow up. You have millions of dollars, and you're an ignorant kid. So now you're stuck in, who the hell's going to tell me anything? I pay for everything. So it was one of those things for me. Like, I didn't have millions. They humbled my ass. I had to grow up fast, and it was like, oh, all right, let me figure this out. And like when I got to the bottom of it, like my favorite thing to say is there's always an underlying issue in everything you deal with. What's that? And I kind of just dealt with that internally. I was like, I'm too prideful. And then I got around other people who were too prideful, and I was like, I don't want to be that way. And I had to change that.
Did you immediately think that I need to write this letter and apologize? Or was there somebody in your life who advised you, or you just woke up one day?
Oh, hell no. I wrote that letter. Probably like 5 years after. I was pissed for a few years. They bad talked me to a few coaches. Like, it was bad, man. It was a bad breakup. But it was my fault. It was all my fault. They were great. They kept me around. They could have sent me home at any point. Wifey actually, Nick, her name, she actually told me like, yo, like, let's just talk to them. Let's see where they're at with it. Like, you've grown so much since then. So it was more so just like, I bet. Let me just get to the underlying issue, see what the problem is. And then I just was like, it was really all me. Like, they were honestly just trying to get me to be a better version of me. Because I've worked with coaches now on teams that didn't really care for me, and they don't talk to you. They don't talk to you when they don't care for you. So it's like when the coach is talking to you, that's when they care. When they stop talking to you, you should be worried.
I feel like that's a really important thing, right? When building a team, is that you have to not only make sure that everybody's okay physically, making sure that everybody can work together, but it's the mental too.
Mental,
because you can have the best players, but if they're not doing good that week and you didn't check up on them, it's going to be a bad game.
And it's huge. I've had so many good games, but I had a lot of bad ones. And when it comes to like, mental, man, it's the reason why the NBA has like mental illness programs and stuff now. Like, it's a lot to do it.
So fast forward after that, you were like, I need to run the bag up. So you ended up being a store manager at Verizon for a few years. What lessons and experiences did you take away from that? Because I feel like was that your first job?
Nah, hell no. I did cleaning when I was younger. Like a little younger than that. I want to say like right after college. I cleaned like pregnant schools, and all the pregnant girls used to hit on me. So I thought that was hilarious. Then I worked at McDonald's. That was fun as shit, not gonna lie. And then I got my first cell phone job as a sales rep, and that's when I was like, oh, this is dope. I get to like talk to different people, learn new things, hear new things, see what people are interested in, see crazy shit on people's phones. But it was an interesting place.
And is that when you first started working, were you just a normal sales rep and you had to work yourself up to a store manager?
Oh, yeah. You start as sales rep for the most part unless you have that background already as manager. Once you get the title, then you can bounce around from manager, and you're fine. But I started as sales rep, moved to assistant manager, and I moved to a store manager.
Did you end up getting that 55-inch screen TV?
Man, I got a 80. I think it's like 85, man.
Oh,
yeah, I'm super good. I end up like anything I've ever wanted, I've gotten. Like, but I have a really good work ethic, and I like saving. Once you get to a point where you can save and like buy what the hell you want, and still have money left after you saved and bought what you wanted, it's a really dope feeling.
That's a blessing. Did you have a side hustle at that time too, like selling sneakers or?
I've always had a side hustle. I've always sold kicks. That's just a part of it. I love them so much. So it's like I didn't have growing up, and I feel like I've always overcompensated that. And then like you run out of space. Like a lot of people don't realize like between brands sending you stuff and like things you buy and you end up not wanting anymore. And then like shoes deteriorate over time. And you don't ever want to lose your money on them, so then you get rid of them. Like, so, yeah, that's always been a little side hustle. But for the most part, I'm clingy when it comes to kicks. Like, I'll look at something, I'll be like, nah, I can't let these go. And, like, I got, like, 2 pair.
That's a good point, man. I look around my house, too, and if something doesn't have a place to go, like a home, I gotta stop getting stuff.
Yeah.
Like, too much of it.
Yeah, facts.
So I feel with my equipment, I'm like, I need this camera, I need these lightings. I got it, and I'm just like, oh man, I gotta keep lugging it up and down the stairs.
Yeah, no, I've always big upped your equipment, bro. Your equipment is so top notch because you can tell by the production you put into things and the way it comes out. And you shoot that shit at the house, and I'm just sitting here like, yeah, bro, he has to have every gadget and gadget. Just has to.
I appreciate that, bro.
No doubt.
It's a long time coming. Similar to you, right? I had a rich man's mindset, poor man's wallet. And I was just like, I can't wait until the day. And I feel like this generation is so lucky because things are so much more affordable. I remember in 2013, the first gimbal that came out that was electric was $25,000.
Sheesh.
Now for a camera, you can get one at like $900.
I was about to say that, yeah. They're super cheap now.
Big difference.
Yeah.
I kind of want to jump back into basketball. At what point did God put the vision in your head that you didn't want to be in the NBA? That wasn't a thing? Because I feel like for most people that are in the game of basketball, they think, how can I make money? And you went left when everybody went right. And you said, I'm going to go get the bag somewhere else. And then the journey's going to still continue for the love that I have for the sport.
That's a really great question. To be honest, that all stems back to when I said I didn't see myself as good enough. So I've never seen myself as good enough until I was like 28. By that time, it's too late. I also didn't have, like most people who want the NBA have trainers. You have trainers at a young age because they see potential in you. Like, I didn't have no trainer. I didn't have anybody that was just going to, take that time to tell me how, what, this is what it looks like. Like most kids who dream of that or around NBA players didn't have any of that. Like, you're in the hood. Don't nobody want to come to the hood. So to be honest, it was just all like, that's all me. Like, I just felt like, one, I don't like practice. I don't like drills. When I heard like 2 and 3 a day practices, as a kid, that didn't interest me. Like, even if you can say, oh yeah, you get millions of dollars if you work out. If somebody told me back then, bro, just work out, get better, get to the NBA, get millions of dollars, I probably would have still been like, that's too much work. Like, it's just back then, like I don't love basketball that way. I love to play basketball. I don't love to try and be the best at basketball. Now, can I? Yeah, at any point. Like, I've showed countless summers that if I get in the gym, I'm pretty fucking unguardable, excuse my French. But like, it's just what it is. Like, I've gotten to the gym multiple times for one summer and like showed up a lot of people who've done it their whole life and they still weren't better than me at that time. So I just don't like the gym. I'm just gonna be honest.
I feel you, because then a lot of people think I want to play hoop, and you get to those levels even when you were in college. Like you said, every day you're practicing. You got to go hit the weight room. Got to go do a cold plunge. I'm sore. I got a cramp. Yep. You know what I mean? It's every single day grind, and that's a small probability that you'll even be able to make it to the big leagues.
Bingo.
If you don't get injured.
Bingo. And that's what I didn't like about it. I don't like the chances. I don't like the amount of people. I don't like basketball is very situational. You need right coach, right background, right look. Like, look matters. You need everything to work in your favor on top of being excellent. It's just, I didn't have those expectations for myself, to be honest. I just didn't. I'm coming from the hood. Like, we don't have this, high morale of making it out. Like, it's a crab in a barrel mentality. But one thing I was always good at is making sure that, I get to the bag wherever that's at. Like, I have no shame in my game when it's time to make some money.
Period. Yeah. I feel like you're a qualified person to answer this question. In the game of basketball, it's a team sport. But how do you qualify somebody to say that their talent is at a certain level of skill set? Because you could be a really raw player, but if you're on a crappy team, does that make you a bad player?
What we call it is the eye test. Like, a lot of, a lot of high level players, like, you can look at somebody and be like, yeah, he got a shot. Like, I've done that a few times, and one of them was to Damian Lillard. Like, nobody knew who he was. I think it was 2009, 10. And, so Rodney Stuckey was in our league, and he got drafted out of Eastern Washington. And I was making fun of Dame and his trainer at the time, which is still his trainer, Phil Beckner. And I'll never forget this because I was laughing about it, and the trainer was like, don't do that. Don't pump his head up. But I was like, Rodney Stuckey jersey was hanging up, and I was like, y'all gonna hang Dame. I was like, y'all gonna hang Dame jersey up when he done? And he was just like, don't pump his head up like that. I said, bro, I know a pro when I see one. Like, his work ethic was crazy. It was just undeniable. And then, the way that he made shots, the efficiency, the shots he were taking, it just looked different from everything else. And, when you see that, damn, this is different. This isn't what I'm used to seeing. And then, at a mid-major at that point, if you're better than everybody at a mid-major, even if he goes to, let's say if he went to a high, major school, like he would at least be top 5. Like he was the best player at a mid-major. So I just saw all that, saw his work ethic. And bro, a lot of NBA dudes shout me. Like a lot of NBA dudes, like top dudes, will tell you, like, bro, he could have played in the NBA if he just took it serious. Like I just didn't care to take it serious. I didn't care to take the routes they took.
In the Drew League, you would score 40 to 60 points. Do you believe that you would have nights like that in the NBA? Frank at his prime, in his young 20s, maybe even at his 30s.
I would have had a couple. One thing I've always been really good at is getting by anybody. And my biggest thing I had to work on was making jumpers. But I'm so fast and agile that everybody's going to give me a jumper. And on nights where I got rolling, there was no stopping me. And I've never had a player pick me up past the three-point line. Everybody's that scared of how fast I am. So I feel like if I really honed in, learned the game back then, and really like put the time in to learn where my shots were coming from, yeah. Like if you watch the NBA now, there's so much drop coverage. They don't even guard shooters now. Yeah. So like for somebody as fast as me, being able to pass like I do, understanding the game like I do, if I just worked on being a better shooter, yeah, 100%. Like I don't see that being an issue at all.
Yeah, the game has changed a lot.
Yeah,
a lot of people taking more three-point shots than they were before.
Lot.
So you played with a lot of NBA players. What's the best piece of advice an NBA player's ever given you?
What's the best piece of advice an NBA player's ever given me? Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant actually walked up to me at an open gym. I didn't even know if he knew who I was. He walked up to me and was like, "That's how you play. Like every time you step on the court, like go kill every time." And I'm just like, damn, like that's a dope ass mindset to have. And that just stuck with me, to be honest. It was one of those things, like, I felt like that already. I felt like every time I'm on the court, I'm going to give it 110%. But he was like, go kill. And I recently shot a podcast with Gilbert Arenas, and he was like, you know how hard it is to guard somebody who's trying to go get 50 every night? He was talking about Allen Iverson. Because we asked who was harder to guard, Allen Iverson or Kyrie Irving. And he was like, Allen Iverson. Like, Kyrie's skilled and all, like, great and all that. But he was like, Allen Iverson was trying to go get 50 every night. So he's like, you know how tiring that is to guard? So I was like, damn, that's dope.
That's a good point. Damn. You have photos with LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. Have they ever given you any advice?
Nah, because it was all in passing. Yeah. It was all like they came to a game to watch, or they like Kobe was at the Drew League. Bron came to our Big 3 championship game. And they deal with a lot. They deal with questions all the time. They deal with pictures all the time. Like, I'm not one of those people that's going to, I feel like that's not the moment to ask somebody for advice, if I'm being honest. Now, if something stemmed from it, or we have a fun conversation and we end up going to dinner, or I end up seeing them somewhere where we can actually sit and talk, then that's when I'd ask for advice. But one player who did give me advice was Chris Paul. We sat and talked at a Jordan event, and he just kind of basically told me about, like, taking care of his body, how he takes care of it, what's he put in it. His knees stopped hurting after he stopped, like, drinking milk and, like, just putting all that fatty dairy into your body. And he told me some dope stuff when it came to, like, what he eats, how he takes care of his body. And I was just like, damn, listening to that, it's really hard to control what you eat. The self-control is crazy because everything has so much, like, addictive add-ons in it, and it's bullshit now. So that stuck with me too.
That's a fact. We were vegan for 4 years. Like, we watched a documentary and I went raw vegan literally the next day. And when I tell you I had, like, oversized thighs, I was a size 34. In 2 months, I was able to go down to a waist size 28. I had more energy than I ever had in my life. But then a few years go by and I finally realized, I was like, oh, I'm actually not getting as many calories I should be getting. Yeah. And I'm not getting the right amount of protein. I feel like I'm iron deficient in those areas. But there's a lot of truth in that if you fix your diet outside of just going to work out. And, you know, you could have, like, the nicest physique. Doesn't mean that you're putting the best stuff into your body at all.
100%. Why'd you stop being vegan?
So I'm pescatarian now. I would say that it introduced me because, I was anemic. So I would just get really cold. I didn't feel like I was getting enough protein. And to get enough protein out of vegetables, it's a lot. And just working all the time, I just didn't have the time to really cook. And even when you eat out, like, you know, you have the substitutes like the Beyond Meats and all that stuff. And I don't know if that's 100% good for you as well.
Bar, yeah.
So
yeah, I know a lot of iron deficient people for sure.
yeah. So now I just eat shrimp and fish. But what I do like about going vegan is I never liked tomatoes, never liked mushrooms. And what I realized about it was you can go to an Asian restaurant. They'll serve you steamed vegetables. If it doesn't have seasoning, who the hell is going to like it? Yeah. But if you put seasoning, if you add texture to it, how you cook it really defines, like, helps those taste buds and like the flavors come out.
Smack, bro. Yeah. Smack. I fell in love with veggies in China, out of all places. They season their veggies unreal, bro. Unreal. I had the best.
It too.
Everything. I had the best broccoli I've ever had in China, out of all places, because I wasn't eating meat in China.
So is that big for you too, that you've changed your diet?
No, my diet's terrible. I still try to eat better, but to be honest, like, my metabolism's crazy. Like, I'm always snacking or eating something. I don't like gum, so like I'm always just eating something. So I'm working on trying to like better my diet. But like you said, I'm on the go like a lot, flying and traveling and this and that. It's hard to be like, all right, let me go get something good. Like, sometimes like I'll land from a flight at 10 p.m. Like, it's open, in and out. Like, it's not a lot of choices late at night to eat good. So
yeah, I've seen you post on your Instagram. I've seen the bottom drawer in your refrigerator got Fantas in there.
Yo, I got
Fanta. Is that you or is that for your kids?
Nah, that's me. I'm drinking them. I don't drink them as much. I try to do like one soda every other day if I'm really doing it. I try to stick to water. I've been sticking to water a lot lately, to be honest. It's times where like I want a lemonade and I'll just get water. It just quenches my thirst better. And I feel like that's starting to like, that helps a lot. Like, I have a lot more energy. I don't crash during the day anymore. Like, I used to need naps when I was eating a lot of candy because the crash from all the like sweet. And like, I stopped taking naps a while ago. So I actually just been enjoying like getting some water, and like, I'm a chip guy. Like, instead of eating candy, I'll eat chips.
When you're off the court, what are some of the things that you like to do? Because I see you post your Call of Duty kill streaks and you are raw on the sticks.
Yeah, that's one of my like main hobbies. I'm not gonna lie. If I could put everything down and get paid to play Call of Duty, I would do just that. That's how much I love Call of Duty, but that don't pay the bills, so I can't do that all day. But I'll do that. I really enjoy snowboarding, pickup ball, obviously. I used to draw a lot, but now I'm in a lane where if I'm doing it, I want to get paid for it. And drawing takes hours, man, hours. And the way that I like to draw is pretty like extensive. So I just don't have the time to sit there and waste on it no more. I'd rather be editing content or making content or, putting something out there where a brand can see it and be like, okay, let me grab Frank for this. So that's just where my mind goes.
Okay. I know you've always tried to get to the bag at a young age. And being a family man, did that amplify that, Frank?
Yeah, 100%. I had my kid at 18, so off the back of my head, like all I've heard growing up in the hood is deadbeat dad this, deadbeat dad that. So you don't want that stereotype. You don't want that to be put on you. I just want to make sure like he didn't go through what I went through. Not saying like I went through a lot, but it was a lot of like I didn't have as a kid growing up. Like I saw other kids who had the most. Like, but most people have like single parent or
separated.
Yeah, they're separated or they have one kid, like stuff like that. We had 4 brothers and 1 girl. So like, my mom and dad did the best they could. And I had a great life. Like I was happy. But like, when you go to school and everybody has an Easter outfit, they have a Christmas outfit, they have a school just started outfit, they have, I don't know, it was just my birthday. Like, there's an outfit for everything growing up in the hood because that's just what it is. Like, the status is, if you got a new outfit on, you take care of your kid. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So I just made sure that my kids didn't care about clothes and shoes and stuff like that. All they cared about was school, books, and, just being smart.
The Easter fits.
Dog.
Easter fits in the hood.
Bro, I used to feel so bad going to school. Only person without a fit.
If you weren't playing basketball, what do you think you would be doing in life?
If I wasn't playing basketball, just being a creative. I feel like if I see it, I can do it. I feel like if I put the time in, put the work in, I can do it. So I like hearing when people telling me, oh, I made money doing this. This brought me this opportunity. I was on a shoot. I literally just finished a shoot today, but one of the guys on the shoot was a B-boy, and he was doing like breakdancing. And I was watching that. I know you kind of jig a little bit too. I've seen you get loose. And in photography, those movements are necessary. So like that's just where my mind goes. Just watching him do that, I was like, I should pick that up so that on a shoot, if I want to do one myself, and then somebody decides, hey, we need somebody who can do this, that's another element I'm adding to my bag to get to the bag. So little stuff like that is just how my brain works.
I remember you posting when you signed to your modeling agency, and I was like, bro, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Especially for me, because as an athlete, like, it's so hard to, like, straddle that line of, like, model and athlete. Like, people are so judgmental in the space. Like, as a basketball player, you have to be this man, and there's just so much you can't do. But I just think it's all stupid. I think modeling is a very, like, expressive form of art. And I love art. So if that's drawing, if that's creating a dope photo, anything like that, like, I just want to be a creative at the end of the day. So, yeah, it's just one of those lanes that I was just like, man, I don't care to be a basketball player. Like, I want to be more than. That's how I like when they came out with that campaign, more than an athlete. I've always felt that way. Like, I'm so much more than just a basketball player. Like, we have enough dumb basketball players. I don't want to be one of them.
Being an advocate for that's important. Because I feel like a lot of people are complacent in life, and it comes from you have to get married at this age, you have to buy a house at this age, you have to have kids at this age, you have to go to college and get a good job. And now I think that our generation is that generation proving that no, that's not true. And even like being in the hood, you grow up around a lot of people who are just like, nah, bro, that's weak, that's soft, that's corny. All that, right?
Sound like me. Yeah, bro. I hate it. I say that all the time. I try to teach all the young guys who hit me up asking about my growth and how I got here. And I'm just like, honestly, man, a lot of your friends that you grew up with are going to think the things you do are corny. I had people fry me over my photo shoot I just did. And immediately after I posted that photo shoot, I got booked for another photo shoot that was like a huge magazine. So it's like, do we listen to the people who aren't getting to the bag because they got a funny opinion? No. Like, where would you be if you didn't care what people said? Like, that's where my mind is. So I don't care anymore. Like, I'm as manly as they come. Like, I don't care what people think. I just know, like, where I want to be, where I want to go, what I want to have. And the only way to get there is by working hard and, doing things that are out of your comfort.
I posted something on Threads the other day, and it said, one day you're crazy, the next day you're a genius. If you look at some of the brightest minds in the world, there was probably thousands of people talking them down, saying your ideas are stupid, this is never going to amount to anything. And now look, we praise them, they're visionaries, they're geniuses.
Kanye West. That's a great example. Like, I know it's pretty crazy lately, but he got trashed for everything he used to, like, do and say and move. And then all of a sudden he was a genius, he was this, he was that. He had people literally dressing like him for a decade. Like, it's just, you're always going to have those naysayers, and the more of them you weed out, the more of them you stop caring about, the more of the positive people come in. And I think that's what I'm trying to get to. Like, I love seeing people be really negative. I will block somebody so fast. I'm not going to reply to you. I'm just going to block you, and I'm going to keep it pushing because I want the negative. Like, words of affirmations mean a lot to me. So seeing it, hearing it, it makes me want to do it more. When you feed into the negativity, it's like, I really don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to do this next time because I don't like how people responded to it. And I really just I don't care for that mentality. Like, mine is positive everything. Like, I don't even believe in bad luck. Like, none of that. I want everything to be positive through and through.
How would you define success?
I love that question. I used to always say success is happiness. If you get to a point where you're truly happy and you appreciate everything you have, you're successful. I don't care if you're in a one-bedroom, girl of your dreams, and you have enough clothes on your back and enough money for, the week. If you feel like that's success to you, that's success. Nobody can tell you what success is. Like, I feel like your happiness determines your success.
That's a fact. If money was removed from the equation, I feel like there'd be a lot more happier people in the world.
A lot more happier people. A lot of people just see money and see other people. Like, there's always going to be somebody with more than. Always. So to sit here and worry about, somebody else's pockets, like, I just feel like that's lame. Like, a lot of people beat themselves up because they're not living this lifestyle somebody else is living. Like, just be happy for them and then, find your own lane.
If you're a hooper outside of the NBA, is there money to be made in this industry?
Yeah, there's a lot of money to be made. I think I'm a living testament to you don't have to go to the NBA to live the life you want to live.
What does that look like for somebody who's listening to this and they don't want to be in the NBA? Because I feel like that's not written about. It's not really talked about amongst players.
I agree. I feel like you got to kind of be out of your shell a little bit. As basketball players, we're pretty modest, pretty humble. We got to, move a certain way. But for me, like, I do anything from ad reads to commercials to modeling to gaming. Anything that I feel like can bring in a revenue stream, I'm going to try or do it. So I really can't put a word or anything on what I actually do. I just do a lot of different things. And then I try things. Like, I try things and see, like, if a brand will gravitate towards that. Because at the end of the day, our world now is content-based. Yeah. If you can provide a picture or a look, or, you can look the part of anything, you can be a part of anything, whatever it is. There's a lane for everybody. That's why I always talk about the Nitty way. And it's just really like, it's my lane. It can be Dante's way. It don't matter. It can be anybody's way. That's the point of it. Just find that lane for you and navigate it the best way you know how.
Well said. I feel like a lot of people think you have to diversify your streams of income, but people are like, oh, you got to get into crypto investing. You got to do real estate. Yeah. If you just focus on yourself and you ask yourself, okay, maybe I play hoop. How can I make money in 6 different ways around hoop? Maybe I can make tutorials. I can coach people in real life. I can play in a league and win some money. I can create content and maybe Spalding or maybe Nike hits me up or Jumpman hits me up.
Yeah. It's a good place because if you know how to hoop, the rest is easy. Like, I don't even talk about, like, how many people I have asked me to train them? Like, I don't even like training. Like, but I can tell you how to get a bucket. All I gotta do is watch you play a little bit, and then I can tell you where your shots are gonna come from. I can tell you how to be a better version of yourself. But for the most part, like, things like that, sometimes I'll go do, like, so Jordan Brand will have jersey revealings for their kids, and I'll help them model their jerseys because a lot of kids aren't comfortable modeling. So, like, that's just for me liking basketball and being able to picture well. Now I'm thinking, like, okay, how can I help somebody else do that? And then Jordan Brand brings me in to do it. Now it's like, all right, this is how you do. You want to look cool, or you want to look this, you want to look that. This is the movement you want. These are hand placements. Like, basketball can take you so many different avenues. I have so many friends who either went into modeling, acting, and, like, guys are in TV series and stuff now. So it's just dope to see, where basketball, like, it put us in a spotlight. And then if you were a creative or a personality, you could branch off into anything that had personalities. So it just basically put me in that point where it's like, all right, basketball is cool, but there's so many other lanes in basketball that show, like, who you are as a person.
That's that fight or flight.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of athletes who get injured and then they have that really low moment in their life. Yeah. The next thing you know, they're like, look, I got a bag tucked away. I'm going to become a real estate investor.
Yeah.
And that becomes their way in the bag. And you navigate that as your unique story. People miss out on the fact that we're all storytellers and humans love great stories. Yeah. And you might be sitting and comparing yourself to the next person on your team and be like, man, this dude is a better player than me. Like, he grew up with a better family, but you don't realize that your story is unique and there are people that look like you, had a similar upbringing. And if you can harness that ability to tell it not only in person, but online, it'll speak volumes. And I feel like that's happened a lot with you is those brands will gravitate towards you because you have a story to tell.
100%. I mean, I feel like for the most part, I'm very relatable because I had a stable 9 to 5. Like, my idea in my head while I was working my 9 to 5 is to get to the top 9 to 5 person at the time, which would be a district manager, and then his regional manager. And, like, they make like $200K plus a year. Like, that's great. Like, that's not bad money. So that's where my mind was. My mind was like, all right, I'm going to do this until it's time to do this. Like, no, I'm going to be the best version of where I'm at now. And then if I feel like along the lines I want to change or do something else, that's what I'm going to go do. Because I'm not, scared money don't make money. It's one of my favorite things. So it's really like, I'm not scared to do anything. I just have to see it. I have to see it, see somebody do it, talk to somebody one time, and it's like, okay, bet. Now that's in my head. Now, okay, how do I figure out how to do it? So I feel like that was like my big thing when it came to, like, getting to the bag.
If you were to go in a time machine right now and go back 10 years ago, you sitting there working at Verizon at 24?
Yeah.
Do you think that you'd be where you are today, chasing your dreams, still playing the game that you love,
If I could tell myself,
do you think that you would be there? Like, I feel like in those moments, either I was, when I worked at retail,
yeah,
I'd be a security guard, I'd be at the front desk, I'd be in the fitting room, and I would have a piece of paper in my pocket. And I'd pull it out with a pen, and I'd write down all my ideas. Like, this is what I'm going to do. I have a new business. I'm going to go after it. On my break and on my lunch, I'm doing research on that topic.
yeah.
So, like, were you manifesting at that time? Do you think that you'd be where you are today?
Hell no. Hell no. Like, if I ever had to really look back, like, no. I tried to think of my life, and it's funny because Mike Jones came out with a song, and it was like 5 years from now. So I've always thought, like, where would I be literally 5 years from now? Like, I always think that to myself, and I'm just like, I don't know, bro. Like, I really don't know. But every 5 years, like, I have something drastic happen, something changes. I'm just getting better and better at whatever it is, and it's just like I love to see the growth. But if I had to, like, if I could actually go back and tell myself something, to be honest, at 24, I would say get in the gym every day. Get in the gym every day. Because, like, I'm still going to be the person I am. I would just be a better version of a basketball player, which would bring me more opportunities. Now, I'm not saying that'll propel me to the NBA, but locking in at 24 would have been crazy because I would have been in so many more eyes. I'd have been talked about so much more. There would have been a lot more going on basketball-wise, but I don't think the story version of me would have been as good.
It's a fact. A lot of ball players, they want to figure out how they can link up with Jumpman. You've been able to do that. Was this something that had happened at a younger age or just recently?
Nah, I've manifested that since I was a kid. Like, Michael Jordan was my favorite player ever to watch, highlights and all that. My son's middle name is Jordan. It was just crazy to see it come full circle because, like, I've always been obsessed with the shoes, like the player. Like, I just think the whole thing about it is just dope. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm like, I want to be a part of that somehow, some way. And I never, ever thought in a million years, like, I'd get my own PE. And I feel like just that coming about was just like, there's just no way. Like, I couldn't believe that they were even interested, but they saw what I did for the culture. They saw how I inspire so many people. And I feel like, that's what Jordan did. Like, he moved the pen and the culture. He inspires so many people. And I feel like I was relatable again with that.
That was really inspiring because hearing your story, how many times you've had to reinvent yourselves or feel like life has thrown you back down, and you can still make that possible for a brand that big and your goal still being achievable, speaks to a lot of people who are probably listening right now, and they're like, damn, man, I'm going to continue to chase my dreams.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, why not? Like, why would you not chase your dream? Like, a lot of people I talk to, like, are stuck in, man, I want to do this, but I'm in this money situation, and I don't know if I should chase a dream. Is it worth it? And I always try to tell people, do both until you can't do both. Then that's when you decide. So, like, my whole time working and being stable and making sure everything was taken care of at home, I was hooping in adult leagues. I played pickup whenever I could just to stay in shape. Like, I love the game. So if you love it, like, you'll make sure like, even if you like art, you can go to work after a long day. You're going to be tired when you get home. Pick up that pen. Draw something. It keeps that skill sharp, and you never know where it'll lead you, And then just one of my big things is clap for yourself every time you get a chance. Like, a lot of people, like, appreciate every small, like, everything. Appreciate everything you do, because at that point, it makes you feel better about you doing it. It's like, oh, damn, this happened for me. I love that. This happened for me. I love that. And now you're in this positive mindset as you go, and it's like, damn, I'm just getting better and better at whatever it is I'm doing.
Yeah, that's what my fiance, Chrissy, she instilled in me. I would be stuck in the rat race of, all right, this happened in my life. Let's move on and let's go to the next milestone. I feel like that's that rat race mentality. But she was like, big or small, you got to celebrate your wins.
Got to, man.
You hit X amount of followers on social media, we got to go out and celebrate that. Whether 100%. Or not that, like, helps your ego or not, like, you could be gone tomorrow.
Yep, 100%.
You have to celebrate those wins.
Everyone, celebrate every win and appreciate every moment, because, like, this shit, like you just said, this shit can all be taken from you in an instant, man. So I feel like we take that for granted. I feel like we all think we're going to live till we're old. Like, nah, live for now. Like, stressing over tomorrow is going to ruin your peace today.
So, speaking of your PE, I have it right here with us today.
Oh, go ahead, man.
So how did this even come about?
So I had a couple people show up to a few Drew League games, and they already knew about me and stuff like that. And it was kind of a long time coming. I ended up finally doing a camp. I did a Zion camp as like a gig for Jordan Brand. And they gave me the Zion 2 as a shoe. Obviously, that's what they were working out in. That's what they were promoting. I was like, oh, damn, these are really comfortable. Like, I love these. Like, I would hoop in these. And the bridge right now is everybody thinks Jordans are only fashionable or like retros. Like, this is only, like, they're not basketball shoes. Like, that's been the thing for a long time. And to be honest, when I put that shoe on, I was like, this is 100% a basketball shoe. I don't know what you guys are looking for. So I really just wanted to like show everybody how dope of a shoe it was. And it was just organic. Like, I didn't force it. I didn't tell anybody, you know, go buy it. Like, I didn't do that. I just loved the shoe. So I showed everybody that, bro, this is a really good shoe. Like, and one of my things I tell like a lot of kids now, you don't realize how much better you can be if you're playing in the right shoe. A lot of people playing the wrong shoe size. All that matters when you want to stop on a dime. All that matters when you want to get to a position on the court. And I feel like this shoe was like, this shoe made me better. That's literally what I felt like. And I projected that. I had these shoes like selling out before I ever had a PE. I had people tagging me like, yo, like, these are crazy. I'm so glad you said something, like 10 out of 10. So I really had everybody big up in the Zion 2. And Jordan Brand kind of saw that, and I was like, look, man, like, we love what you did for this shoe. What do you think about it if we, you know, gave you free range to have a Nitty Way player exclusive?
What?
Yeah.
What was that moment like for you was that through an email, phone call, in person?
It wasn't even an email. It was more so like one of my good friends, he worked there. Like, I consider him a good friend. We talk about everything, low key. And he was just like, I'm going to work on something for you. And when he finally said it, like, he always talks as like, don't hold me to it, but just, I'm working on something for you. I love people like that.
I know who you're talking about, so I'm already know. He's very humble.
Yeah. So, like, I love that, man. And he did that. And we kind of made this pact and bond to where, like, I was going to keep pushing because I liked what I was pushing, not because I wanted anything. And I have messages that show you, like, man, you don't got to do nothing for me. Like, I don't need anything. I just enjoy quality shit. So, and it was a quality shoe. And when I finally got the email, like, the email wasn't the craziest. The craziest was a Zoom call. The Zoom call was legendary. It's a big room, a long desk, and 3 people sitting at a desk asking me about my life, telling me what they've learned from the posts I've made. And one thing I pride myself on is my social media is my life. Everything on it is me. So they got to know me through social media. And there's a lot of people nowadays that if you look through their social media, it's kind of hard to find out who they are. And they really like dialed in on who I was as a person, and just talking to me through that Zoom call, looking at them at a desk like that shit, it was amazing. It was amazing. Not gonna lie.
I'm gonna hand the shoe off to you real quick.
All right, I got you.
Can you walk me through? Because I'm sure, you know, obviously the shoe model silhouette is already designed.
Correct.
But why did you go with the green, these textures? Obviously, you had to put the Nitty Way on there.
Yeah. I'll start with the color. This right here has always been one of my favorite colors. Is this color. I love purple and I love red. There was already a purple Zion, so I couldn't do purple. There was already a red Zion, so I couldn't do red. And this has always been my favorite color. And I just like how bright it is. Like, I feel like it's me. Like, I'm obnoxious. I stand out when I walk in a room. So it's kind of just landed on, like, let's go with the green. And I've always loved that color. I had like back in middle school, you know, when you used to wear those fat laces in your Chucks.
Yep.
I had one of these, that color, and I used to carry it around with me all the time because I love the color so much. And that's where I started at with the color. And then one of the things about the shoe is I'm a diamond in a rough. So obviously growing up in the hood is rough. I'm one of those dudes who made it out. And on the hang tag, I think it's on the second shoe. It's a little Nike Diamond Man, which is pretty dope that they implemented that. And then the cracks on the shoe resembles me making it, you know, through the cracks. Also, if you look at it, it has like this resemblance of if a ball goes through a net, it looks like the net when it moves. So that's when you see like a shimmer in that in that cracking detail. And like I said, I'm a big Jordan brand PE guy. So a lot of their PEs, they'll put the Stingray on them, which is the material at the top. And I've always liked that, but they don't do it on regular shoes. You won't see Stingray on a regular pair of Jordans. So like it's like their premium. Okay. Yeah. So
I didn't even know Stingray was a thing. And as you're holding it and I'm looking at it, you know what it really reminds me of, and it speaks to your childhood?
What?
You as a skateboarder, the grip tape.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. I wouldn't have thought of that. Yeah, it does look like grip tape. That's funny. Yeah, no, I just really like PE Jordans. They go all out for them. The materials, it's just next level. Yeah, for the most part, that's pretty much it. Obviously, I put the Nitty Way stamp. They asked me for a vector file when I started branding myself, and that's what I used. Okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. We got fam on the insole, extra laces because they be doing a little bit too much at Jordan. So I love when they throw the extra laces on there. But I think for a basketball shoe, like I've gotten the most compliments on this, and like this went viral. Like I think this was at like 5 million like views or something. It was crazy, man. So it worked for the brand, worked for me, and I feel like we both did it organically.
This is different. This is a proud defining moment right here.
Yeah, not a lot of people that didn't make the NBA got their own Jordan brand shoe. So,
what is your basketball number?
6.
6. Is the 6 on the shoe at all?
No, it's not on the shoe. I don't care to have my number on things because I've changed it so many times. But I've had my most success in number 6. Okay. So, and I actually ended up getting that jersey on accident because 23 was taken. So, like, 23 was taken by somebody better than me at the time. And once I got 6, I had one of the craziest games ever, and I just rocked with it ever since. I was like, nah, give me the 6. I had my best game in it. So I just kept rocking with it, and good things kept happening.
Because you normally look at Jordan PEs, you never see somebody's name really on the shoe. So the fact that you got the Nitty Way inside and out of the shoe, that's fire.
I wanted it to be like, listen, if it was up to me, it'd be on the toe box. I wanted it to be, it's a little hard to see on the bottom, but I definitely wanted it to be one of those things where I was like, nah, man, I want people to know like this is Nitty's shoe. This ain't just, a regular colorway.
That's fire. Is there another collab coming out?
Is there another collab coming out? I wish. Jordan Brand, if y'all hear this, please. Nah. It's a once in a life. This is a bucket list thing for me. Like I've always wanted, my own anything with Jordan Brand or a big collab. So this is a bucket list item for sure. So if something comes about, that'll be great. But I'm not harping on it. This was enough for me. I'm really good at appreciating what I have. I have them. I'm gonna appreciate them. So I don't know. I hope so.
You're a man with many shoes. If you could pick 5 shoes out of your collection, and those are the only shoes you'd be able to rock for the rest of your life, what 5 shoes would they be?
If I had to pick 5 shoes, I'm going Dior One Low. I'm going purple Travis Scott. I'm going my PE. I'm going Solar Yeezy 2. And I'm going What the Dunks.
Ooh. Interesting. Yeah. You have a pair of What the Dunks?
I actually got rid of them. Yeah, I got rid of them when I bought my Bentley.
Okay.
Yeah, they had to go. For what they going for, they was out of here.
That was a smart business decision in my books. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I didn't want a car note when I got my Bentley. So I got rid of a few shoes and I paid cash.
Come on now.
Yeah, I can't do car notes.
At some point though, them shoes are gonna crumble anyways, right?
Come on, man. I'd rather run a car into the ground than worry about wearing a pair of $20,000, $30,000 shoes. I'm cool on that, man. Like that's like wearing art, and I really ain't trying to mess up the art.
Out of all the player exclusive shoes that you have, I know you posted one on your Instagram. It was the Jason Tatum 4s, I think.
The Steve Webbies, I think they're called. Yeah.
Pressure.
Yeah, those are crazy. That's his tattoo artist. Yeah, man, that's an amazing shoe. It's not even my size. I can't even wear it. It's 13. So it's one of those shoes that I just have because I'm plugged with the brand. Thank my guys for getting that to me. Again, it's just art. Like, it's just one of those things. It's like, damn, like, it's not many in the world.
Mm-hmm. It is wearable art. So your social media, I know that a lot of it comes from you playing hoop. There's a lot of highlight reels made of you. You just being consistent over the years. You have a few thousand posts on your Instagram page. When you started transitioning into more fashion and modeling, how did your community take that? Was it a drawback, or was it immediately like, yo, he putting that on?
It was 50-50, to be honest. It was a lot of people that unfollowed me for it. It was a lot of people that was like, man, what is this? Like, you know, you're going to get that. But again, like I look for the positive comments in it all. And the people were liking what I was doing and posting. And I think the biggest draw from it was what stemmed from those small posts. Bigger posts came, bigger brand deals came, modeling deals came. And I think that's when people started to appreciate it. Like you were saying, you're crazy until you're successful. Now it's like, oh, this is so dope. You wasn't saying that a few minutes ago. So, again, I'm trying to get into high fashion. I really want to do like high fashion shoots. And I just posted something that was very controversial when it came to modeling. And like I said, they was frying me for it, but just like always, just wait on it.
Just wait on it.
Yeah.
That's well said. Because when it comes to fashion, I think that's how actually we connected. You followed me. Bro, trust me, like when it comes to hoop, like I'm the most disconnected. If people say, what's your favorite sports team? I'm like, I'm from the Bay, so naturally I'm just rocking with Golden State.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe the Kings, I don't know. Back then.
Yeah, for real.
But when you followed me, I immediately was just like, yo, this dude is raw. But what stood out to me was the fact that you were doing a lot of dope transitions. You were showing like sneaker culture. You were showing fashion off. And when I look at people on social media, I say, if I look at it and not so much if somebody else is doing this, but like, does this look like it is that person? Like, I didn't know you.
Yeah.
First time we linked up was just a few weeks ago at the Jumpman event.
Facts.
So I think it was just really cool to see like you wanting to be like more involved with video creation. And that to me stood out because I was like, my goal is to help people out, right? And that's what I started doing social media for. And I know when you reached out, you're like, hey, bro, how do you do these tutorials? Like, without even hesitating, I was like, I'd hit you up. I hit you with a voice memo like, bro, do this, do that. Yeah. So that's dope.
Nah, it was mad organic. You got one video that I'll never forget. Bro, you shot milk in a bowl, I think. No, it was almond milk. Oh, I think it was on this table. It was the craziest production video I've seen. And I think you did it on a phone. It was a phone, right?
Yep.
You did it on a phone. I said, there's no way he shot this on a phone. And then you showed behind the scenes of it. I was mind blown. I was like, yeah, bro, I got to get into this. But like my creative, like you stemmed some of that creative, like, nah, this is doable. Like I felt like to have this type of production, you got to have 8 cameras and lighting and all. No, you did all that from a phone. So like, again, that started like the content process for me and like trying to do different things and trying to mix up, you know, that lay of the land.
What are your top pieces of equipment that you would say for anybody that wants to start content creation should have?
A phone. Start with a phone. But I mean, I'm gonna at least say get you a DSLR. I don't know what kind. I'm not into cameras like that. I don't know them like that. I have a Sony A7 now. That was like my first camera purchase where I was like, I think I asked you that, did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say I asked you and you gave me 2 options and the other one was like $5,000. I was like, nah, I'm not really this good to be playing on a $5,000 camera. And I think the one I got was like 1,800 with a lens or 2,000 with a lens or something like that. And it just like made my like videos a little more crispier. But yeah, no, I definitely want to get that. I think the best thing you said to me was like lighting. I think you said lighting was really big, like getting something like really clear and like the visuals. So, yeah, I would just say like find a DSLR, one that you can work with, one that's affordable. That helps a lot.
I'm sure you get a lot of people that come up to you that ask for advice. If you could speak to them right now, what's a piece of advice that you would give to them?
Don't care what nobody thinks. I think not caring what anybody thinks is going to be your biggest, like, that's the way you're going to grow the best. If you think like, oh, what do they think if I do this? What do they think if I do this? It's going to stunt your growth so much. You honestly got to step outside that comfort zone and just be comfortable with whatever you're putting in the world. Because if you're comfortable showing it, that's going to show through your work. It's going to show through the way you're playing, your videos. It's going to look normal. The more uncomfortable you are with thinking about what they're going to think, the more it'll show in your work.
My brother Frank, I appreciate you coming on. Entrepreneur, athlete, father, designer, model. Where can people find you?
You can find me on IG, Frank Nitty, 2 T's, 2 Y's. You can find me on Twitch. That's where I be doing my Call of Duty, 2 T's, 2 Y's. Pull up, I need a squad. And then TikTok, same thing, Frank Nitty, 2 T's, 2 Y's. And then shout out to my Chef Hart, because she the realest. So, yeah, man.
Appreciate you for coming on, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me.